Hello, back again with another episode of Real Health Talk with Dr. Coring. My name is Dr. Coring. For those who do not know me, I am a board certified internal medicine physician, and it's my pleasure and as well as my duty to educate common folks such as yourself regarding health and wellness. In order to be well, I am passionate about improving health literacy amongst our culture. And today, because it's nearing the holidays, specifically Thanksgiving, I was talking to a patient today and we got on the topic of talking about chitterlings, also known as chitlins. And I grew up in the South, and chitterlings are a Southern cuisine that I actually grew up on. I don't eat chitterlings anymore, but definitely are familiar with the product, the preparation of this food, as well as the tasting of it. However, now that I am a physician, I understand the risk of eating chitterlings, and that's what I would like to talk about. It is delicious, especially once you put hot sauce on the chitterlings. They're really good. They are tasty, I do admit. However, there are risks, specifically risk of cardiovascular disease with the chitterlings. And so, therefore, I want to basically discuss the nutritional facts regarding chitterlings, what the good qualities of the product of the food, meaning the good source, nutritional source of this food, as well as talk about the elephant in the room, the not so good, and why, specifically why, we should, if we're going to indulge in moderation, all right. That's the key. That's the key to a lot of things when it comes down to your health is moderation. All right, so let's talk about the product itself. What is chitterlings? Well, it's a product that comes from a pig, and so it's a food basically, and it comes from the actual pig, and it's the small intestines of the pig. And so, history lesson, when they slaughtered the pig, historically back in today, when we talk about our ancestors, and I'm African American, and so when I say our ancestors, I'm specifically talking about my African American ancestors, um, the slaves, basically. And it seems as though this food was given to my ancestors when they were slaves to eat. And what they did during that time was were they were creative with their food, and they actually were able to turn this what they called at the time slop into something that was tasty. And I'm proud of my ancestors for doing that. And so that's how this food came about. The small intestines of the pig. It was thought of to be slop, a part of the pig that, quite frankly, the majority of the population during that time did not care for. And that's still the case. This is a niche product, and the majority of the population still do not eat chitterlings. However, there's a subsection of the population that still indulge in this product, even now that we are free and not slaves anymore, and we definitely have access to better parts of the pig and or other animals. This is a cultural item that still is very alive and well in the African American culture. So that's a history lesson regarding chitterlings. Hence, it's a tasty item. We typically, when I say we, I'm talking about my family, particularly indulge in this product towards the holidays. And so, this product was not, presented and on our dinner tables every Sunday. That's not the case. It was mainly Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so, because it is Thanksgiving, this is a good opportunity from my perspective to kind of talk about chitterlings and why I am not an advocate for it, simply because it causes cardiovascular disease and atherosclerosis. And I'm going to talk more about that. And I kind of want to use this as a public service announcement to my fellow African Americans or anybody who consumes chitterlings on a more frequent basis than holiday basis, just to kind of say, hey, these are the harms. This is what you're getting yourself into as it pertains to your health. All right, so let's talk about the good. Uh, Chitterlings are a good source of protein. It's an animal. Not it's an animal, but it's a product of an animal. So it's animal product, meaning, it's a good source of protein. So that's not surprising. It's also a good source of iron as well, because it is an animal product and it's essentially a product that's essentially has vasculature or blood vessels around it. So, you definitely are going to eat some, blood of the animal. And so that's how we get our iron, um, from animal products. Not all the time, but most of the time. Essential vitamins. It's also mainly B12. And so this product, Chitterlings, is good for, B12 mainly. Iron as well. We talked about that. And then also omega-3 fatty acids, selenium. But what's the downside? And the elephant in the room here is cholesterol and also fat. So it's the fat and the cholesterol that we worry about. And so that's what I want to spend the rest of the time talking about, is the fat and the cholesterol that the chitterlings carry or have. And so when we talk about a serving size, so a serving size of chitterlings is about 100 grams, which is about maybe a couple tablespoons full. You have to weigh it out, but that's what I would assume. And once you weigh your 100 grams out, this is what you're essentially consuming. So let's start with the fat. You're consuming about 20 grams of fat. And a lot of this fat, the majority of it is saturated fat. All right, so let's spend some time talking about saturated fat. Saturated fat is fat that we normally and mainly get from red meats, cheese, coconuts. So basically animal products. And in this case, the chitterlings. And the problem with saturated fats is once this fat is at room temperature, the fat is solid. And so let me give you an example. Have you ever, what's a good example? Pizza. All right. Remember, saturated fats, the source is red meat, cheese, coconut oil, mainly. So dairy products. And pizza, we get the pizza, at least I do. I like my pizza hot. I like my cheese melted. And when I bite into my pizza, I like to see the cheese, meaning I like to see the strings of the cheese. So we say the cheese is not solid, it's kind of semi-solid, but it's definitely not hard. However, when you leave that pizza out, which I typically do, I leave my pizza at room temperature. Sometimes I put it in the refrigerator, but most of the time I leave it out, put it in the oven for the next day, eat on it, and then throw it away if anything left. But you notice when you take that pizza out, now that the cheese is at room temperature, that cheese is not stringy. That cheese is not soft. That cheese is hard. That cheese is hard. In fact, you can't, when you, that's what, when you slice the pizza, you actually have to use a knife to cut into the cheese. That's what happened to the fats. And also, if you leave meat out, red meat out at room temperature, you will start to see some substance, some fatty substance on that meat. And if you put it in the microwave, just like if you put a pizza in the microwave, that substance either disappears or becomes soft, and the cheese, for in this case, will become soft. And some cheese you won't even see. Why is that a problem? Well, that's a problem because when we eat these products, the cheese, the fat on the meat, that's what happens. That's what happens once that product gets into your blood vessels. It sit and it become hard, turns into plaque. All right, and that, my friends, is what causes heart disease, coronary artery disease. That's what clogs blood vessels. It's that fat that's just sitting there. Okay, and so that's why this is a problem. All right, and so how much of saturated fats is it recommend that we have on a daily basis? because we do need some fats for bodily function, for insulation, for things to work, our enzymes to work. Well, we need about 20 grams of saturated fats per day. When you eat 100 grams of chitterlings, 2 tablespoons full, that's what we're going to say, you're getting 50%, 10 grams of saturated fats with that one product. And that's just one meal. We typically eat 3 meals a day. And so when you add macaroni and cheese to that plate, that I know you're gonna do, when you add that ham, that rib, you know, because I said saturated fats is mainly red meats, cheese, coconut oil. So when we talk about cheese, that's the macaroni and cheese. When we talk about red meats, we already have the chitterlings. That's a meat product. Pork. Then you're gonna add your beef tip ribs. You're gonna maybe have a steak or whatever. You can see what I'm saying. You're going to exceed the 20 grams of saturated fat in that day. Just the chitterlings alone, that's 47%, 50% basically. You only have half left. So that one meal, in my opinion, you're going to be over your amount. All right. And chitterlings do not get you full. You got to know that. 100 grams of chitterlings is probably not going to do anything for you. You're going to still be hungry. And so what we call that is empty calories. All right. You're getting all of this fat, but it's not going to do anything for you as far as feeling full. So guess what? You're going to get and crave more fats to get you to feel full. More meats. Chitterling, we used to look at it as a side, not even a meat. All right. But this is a meat. And so you're going to reach for the macaroni and cheese to help get you full. You're going to reach for the holiday ham. All right. So it's bad and fat, which leads to essentially coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, basically build up a plaque in your arteries. That causes heart disease, heart attacks. What else is it bad for? Cholesterol. 100 grams, 2 tablespoons of chitterlings has up to 275 milligrams of cholesterol with that one serving. Why is that not good? Because you only, according to your daily intakes, are recommended to take in 300 milligrams of cholesterol per day. So this one dish, I'm calling it a side dish, a side item on the menu, has 92% of your daily cholesterol intake. You have no more room to consume any more cholesterol. But guess what? What is cholesterol? It's animal product. It's dairy product. It's the holiday ham you're going to go for. It's the macaroni and cheese you're going to go for. And so what am I saying? I'm saying that this empty calorie food is going to put you at 92% of your daily cholesterol intake. No more room. And what is the number one contributor to heart disease, especially coronary artery disease? It's atherosclerosis because of high cholesterol. And so this cholesterol, this 92% of cholesterol that you're eating from this product is going to contribute to high cholesterol, elevated LDL, elevated HDL, elevated triglycerides, which in turn, can contribute to, like I'm mentioning, coronary artery disease, heart disease. All right. So overall, what am I saying? I'm saying chitterlings is a part of the African American culture. Chitterlings is a staple item when you're talking about, African Americans getting together for the holidays for some households. All right. And so I appreciate that. I enjoyed the taste of it. However, I do appreciate not have had a heart attack. I do appreciate not having had the complications of atherosclerosis like stroke, heart attack, chronic kidney disease, peripheral artery disease, because high cholesterol foods, high fat foods can cause these things, all right, in conjunction with other things. And so that being said, if you do eat the chitterlings, try to eat maybe half, 50 grams instead of 100 grams, half a tablespoon. Try not to go Try not to eat it every day. Maybe a once, twice a year thing. All right, because it put you at risk for coronary artery disease and high cholesterol, and it also ultimately put you at risk for atherosclerosis and the complications of atherosclerosis, such as stroke, hypertension, coronary artery disease, which is heart disease, peripheral artery disease. All right. So that's my time, guys. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. Everything in moderation. Be careful with these chitterlings. All right. Love y'all. Like and subscribe. Peace.